Hello and welcome back for our next video our daily encouragement. Uh, Sorry for the hood and everything. I don't have a good hair day going on, and honestly, part of uh, some of the changes that I've gone through is I like wearing hoodies, I like wearing sweaters, and so I got that on today. So hopefully it's not too distracting for you. Uh, Well, let's get right into it because I don't want to take up a bunch of your time. Again, the goal is to give you an idea from a verse or two that's been an encouragement to me and hopefully find that it's encouraging to you as you go through your day. We are now up to Matthew chapter 7, and we're just going to take the first couple verses. It's a familiar passage, and maybe I'm taking a shot discussing this, but we'll go ahead and do it. But verse 1 says, "Judge not, that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye? Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, Let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine own eye? Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye." Now, I know in Christian circles today we hear a lot about judging and uh, how we're either not to judge or we shouldn't be critical of other people or things along that line. And I think it's a wrong philosophy. Uh, and I'll try to be encouraging here really quick. The idea here isn't that we shouldn't be trying to help other people. Shouldn't isn't that we don't address other people's faults. The idea is goes back to kind of what we've said in a couple different videos. The idea of one, managing yourself, taking care of yourself, but then the other part is, while you're doing that, being a family and being Christ-like and approaching others. See, when Christ sat there and referenced other people and referenced what they were doing wrong, he was God. He is God, but he was God at the time, doing it from a position of authority. In fact, the last verse in chapter 7 says that Jesus taught as one having authority and not as the scribes. See, and the idea that I think we struggle with is that we're quick to point out the faults in other people, but we're not as quick to manage our own. And that's the idea here. When we look at verse 1, we see, "Judge not, that ye be not judged." It's like, oh, that's it, plain and simple. Don't judge. But what's the next verse tell you? "For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again." In other words, if you're going to sit and correct someone else for their fault, you better rest assured that it's corrected in your life. Now, again, I want to be careful how I say this. If your struggle is uh, uh, whatever the issue you have, I don't want to give comparisons and have someone take it out of context. So um, here I'll do it in a kind of a lighthearted way. So your problem is you steal pencils from work. Okay. Well, if it's uh, seen by you that all of a sudden you notice your coworker is taking a piece of tape at work, you don't want to sit there and go, "Man, I can't believe you're stealing tape from work. What is your issue?" And it's like, I took one piece to do this. What about you over there? Do you have a collection of pencils at home that you've taken from work? That's how it comes across. It comes across hypocritical, and it's not going to be effective. But rather, if I'm not taking pencils, or if I am taking pencils, does that not mean I can try to help my friend or my coworker? Yeah, I can still try to help them, but understand what's going to come across. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to sit there and come across judgmental. What I want to do is, one, understanding where I am and what I need to fix if I'm going to help someone else, still understanding that. So if I'm going to sit there and correct that person or recommend that person with the tape stop doing that, I may approach it where I'd say, "Hey, so and so, be careful with the tape taking. I'm not here to judge you, but do know that they're starting to crack down on stuff like that. And if they say something about you and your pencils, that's when you can go. Actually, uh, I realized that that was an issue, and um, I'm trying to actually cut back on that and trying to stop that. In fact, I brought the old pencils back. Now, obviously, it's really rough illustration because it's so silly sounding, and but yet it's also theft, and you don't want to talk. But the idea is still understanding I'm not coming across to that person as they're a horrible, wicked, terrible person, that they are deserving of condemnation and eternal punishment, but understanding that I'm trying to come alongside and help, and understanding that I still struggle with whatever it is. Does that mean the alcoholic can't help another alcoholic? Does that mean um, the uh, the person with foul language can't help someone else with foul language? Does that mean the person who smokes can't help the other person who's smoking? By the way, I'm not saying any of those as if they're sins or something like that, but what I'm as we look at the Christian life, those are stumbling blocks. Those are issues that we can sit there and find where the Bible talks about corrupt communication, or the Bible talks about taking care of yourself. And that's an issue I have struggles with, and trying to come across and tell someone whether they shouldn't be smoking or shouldn't be drinking. When I have struggles with my own health, it puts me in a tough spot, and I can't come across judgmentally and say, I can't believe you struggle with this or you struggle with this, when I struggle with something similar. Maybe it's not alcohol, maybe it's not cigarettes, but it's still, it's food, or it's, whatever it might be. And that's what the passage is trying to teach, is that it's the idea of our goal shouldn't be to be correct. The Bible doesn't say, for us to live right, let our light so shine so that people can realize that we're the best people ever. No, they see your good works and glorify your Father. If I'm trying to help someone, it should be for the glory of God, and it should be to help them become a better person. So I say all that to tell you, one, if you're struggling with something, you can still be an encouragement to someone, you can still be a help to someone, and maybe use that person to help you, and you both together can get through something. I've had friends tell me about different issues that they deal with, that they struggle with, and their frustrations that come whenever they deal with that issue. And they say sometimes the people that's closest to them, whether it's a sibling or spouse or a child or a parent, that that person struggles with something similar, but they are too busy acknowledging the wrong in person's life that they don't see it in their own, and the frustration that comes from it. And I understand it, and I get that. Look, ultimately, my goal here isn't to tell you all the things you do wrong. It wouldn't be. If you and I are friends, and you would ask me about, what do I think about, X issue, or what do I think about Y issue? And if it's a question of right or wrong, I'll tell you according to what the Bible says, but I won't come across judgmentally. I mean, unless it's something like horrifically bad, I may still come, a little bit. But, if you're telling me you're out there, I'm not going to give you an example. If you're out there doing something that the Bible explicitly says is wrong, I'm still going to try my best not to judge you, because I don't walk in your shoes. I don't live in your life. Uh, but I will try to encourage you with what the Bible says. And I won't come across like, I can't believe you did that, because I have no place for that. What I can do is tell you as the Bible says. I've got my own faults, and I have my own struggles that I've got to daily ask God to forgive me, and ask Him to help me through. So I'm going to do the same thing to help you out as well. So again, the verses we're going to go for today, Matthew 7, verse 1, judge not, that ye be not judged, for with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye? Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine own eye? Thy hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. I hope that was a bit of an encouragement for you, and I hope that so far these have been helpful to you. That's the goal. Leave these on multiple platforms, and so if you happen to see us on one, do know that we're on 3 different platforms. I have it on Rumble and on YouTube and on Spotify. So if any of these can help you, definitely take advantage of them. Otherwise, thank you so much for taking the time to listen. I hope you have a blessed day.